A Calgarian previously jailed for voyeurism is charged again.
In this instance, it's linked to the notion of child pornography.
Accusations young women and children were filmed at a mall.
Somebody could be doing this when you're just enjoying time with your kids somewhere.
Plus, despite community protests, City Hall approves a controversial rezoning.
That leaves people's trust in government in doubt.
An apartment complex is planned, but residents fear what will be beneath it. And he's got a passion for the monsters that turn the land.
Anything that runs, anything with wheels, I was always interested.
A massive collection of classic Canadian tractors up for auction.
CTV Calgary, local breaking news with Tara Nelson.
Hello and thank you for joining us. A Calgary man previously jailed for secretly filming women and posting sexually explicit videos of them online is facing disturbing new charges. Police say he was caught again, this time at South Centre Mall, allegedly recording young girls and women without their consent. Mark Villani has more on the serious charges, which include possession of child pornography. And a warning, some of the details in this story may be disturbing.
This is Jeffrey Robert Williamson, arrested in 2017 for running a social media account that posted hundreds of sexually explicit videos of women, many filmed without their knowledge or consent. He pleaded guilty to voyeurism and possession of child pornography, serving a 2-year prison sentence. Now, years later, police say he's done it again. On June 24th, officers were called to South Centre Mall after a woman reported being secretly recorded on Williamson's cell phone. Investigators say mall surveillance footage showed him taking videos under the woman's skirt.
I mean, it's sad and shocking and appalling.
Kara Stone says her children used to play at Williamson's house before his original charges, making these repeat allegations that much more personal and disturbing.
These poor people that are, being victimized by this gentleman who clearly can't get it together. So that's really unfortunate.
Following a search warrant, police say they also seized devices containing child pornography. 51-year-old Williamson is now charged with obtaining that material and faces another count of voyeurism.
Voyeurism is always, or more often than not, linked to some more serious offenses. Could be a criminal harassment charge. It could be an assaultive charge.
Police say these crimes are serious and a direct violation of people's physical safety and privacy that can lead to lasting psychological effects. We continue to work with security partners at South Centre Mall to ensure the safety of patrons. It's incredibly important for people to report these incidents, whether they themselves are victims or if people witness others being victimized. But as Williamson now waits for his day in court, some say it's time the justice system takes a tougher stand.
This is who he is, and we need to take note, and judges, lawyers, all of that, they need to take note.
Mark joins us from South Centre Mall tonight. So, Mark, we know now Williamson has a history. How could this have happened again?
Well, Tara, I've reached out to the Parole Board of Canada to find out some more details on Williamson's supervision as well as his risk of reoffending. We're looking into getting those details. We still haven't heard back, however. Now, this case has raised some questions as to what legally constitutes a crime. So let's clarify it for you. Voyeurism involves secretly recording someone for sexual purposes without their consent. Snapping a photo of somebody in public is not illegal, but investigators say this type of behavior, the one that occurred at South Centre Mall, really crosses that line. Now, meanwhile, police say that support is available for any victims involved in cases like this and to continue reporting any incidents that might be involved that somebody's going through this. Also, Williamson is expected to be in court tomorrow. Tara.
Okay, Mark, thank you. The mother of a man shot and killed by police 2 years ago is thankful a Calgary police officer has now been charged, but she remains skeptical about the judicial process moving forward. Levon Fox and Wesley Davidson were killed following a slow-speed pursuit along Memorial Drive. Fox's mother says the deaths never should have happened. Tyson Fedor reports.
3 shots ring out in this cell phone video on May 29th, 2023. Fired at a stolen white cube van being driven erratically, although slowly, along Memorial Drive. 3 men inside the truck had previously been reported to police for acting suspicious on private property. The driver, Wesley Davidson, and one passenger, Levon Fox, were shot to death by police.
There's no reason for my son to be killed. My son was not given the opportunity to show his hands or get out of the vehicle.
Lena Wildman says her son did not stand a chance when police opened fire on the vehicle. Her other son, Dennis, was also in the truck but survived and taken into custody.
I don't think that officer did a proper threat assessment.
51-year-old Constable Craig Stothard, a 15-year member of the service, now faces 2 counts of second-degree murder following an investigation by Alberta's police watchdog, ACERT. The Crown Prosecutor's Office found there was enough evidence to prosecute.
Nobody can remember an on-duty officer in Alberta ever being charged with a criminal offense of murder. Not only was that officer shooting at the driver, he was shooting at the passengers too, which is even more egregious.
Lawyer Tom Engel says there have been many cases before where ACERT recommends charges, but prosecutors do not pursue.
I'm hoping that this is not a one-off, and this is evidence of a new approach being taken by the Minister of Justice and the Alberta Crown Prosecution Service.
Despite the charges, Fox's family remains cautious about the legal proceedings.
My fear is that he will be given special treatment because the police officer.
Tyson Fedor, CTV News, Calgary.
Stothard is out on bail and due in court tomorrow. Police are now looking for dash cam footage of yesterday's crash on Deerfoot Trail, and they're sharing some new details of the collision. Just before 9 a.m., police say a van heading west on Memorial Drive left the roadway, struck a concrete barrier, then rolled into the grass median and onto Deerfoot Trail. The driver, a 34-year-old man, was ejected from the van and hit by a truck. He is now in serious but stable condition. The van, meantime, crashed into a car and caused the car to roll over, leaving 2 men in their 80s with serious injuries, but they are expected to survive. Another truck was involved in the crash, but nobody else was hurt. Police are not sure if excessive speed, drugs, or alcohol were involved, but they're asking for information or dash cam footage. A portion of Crowchild Trail is closed after a crash involving a police truck. The truck had its lights on and was responding to another collision when it crashed into a vehicle at 24th Avenue and Crowchild. The police truck was on its side, but nobody was seriously hurt. Crowchild Trail is closed between 32nd Avenue and 5th Avenue Northwest while the scene is investigated. An alert from Calgary Police about a big Hells Angels gathering this weekend. Police tell us they expect the bikes to roll into Calgary Friday. They say there will be an increased police presence throughout the city too, and that officers will be keeping an eye on the Hells Angels and affiliated gangs. They also say outlaw motorcycle gangs host several events across Calgary every year, and in the past there haven't been any issues. City Council has unanimously approved rezoning the former CBC building site where creosote has been found. The toxic substance is harmful to people and the environment if disturbed. An environmental assessment accepted by the province says construction would be safe, but Hillhurst residents don't buy it. Stephanie Thomas has more on the plan to build an apartment building.
Calgary City Council voted all in favor to rezone a portion of land in Hillhurst, paving the way to build up a 6-story complex. But it's what's beneath the surface of the vacant lot on Westmount Boulevard that's caused considerable community concern. Creosote has seeped deep beneath the bedrock.
I was a little bit flabbergasted, yeah.
Creosote is a toxic chemical once used to preserve wood on the south side of the Bow River. Canada Creosote Company used the waste chemical for decades until the 1960s. Domtar later owned the site. It has never been fully cleaned out of the soil and has since seeped under the river. High remediation costs helped kill the Calgary Next proposal a decade ago.
So it has, according to what the city has found out, migrated to the other side of the river.
Some Hillhurst area residents opposed the land use amendment change during public hearings and expressed disappointment on Wednesday.
When you look at the process, it's pretty clear that the public were cut out of the interaction.
He says it's eroded his trust in both the province and City Hall, which share different responsibilities to address creosote at the site.
You know, the engagement is tough, but we got to do it, but we got to do it right. And if you do it right, you know, the confidence and trust of this corporation and the citizenship of our governance will be there.
The developer, Anthem Properties, is on the hook for any issues that it may find.
Monitoring, reporting protocols, and will endure with the land, so that does provide confidence for the community and some security around management of the site.
Next is the development permit process, which will be more detailed about community impact. There's opportunity for public input, but Sterling is not confident it will affect the proposal.
And Stephanie joins us from City Hall tonight. Stephanie, you mentioned the original site of the contamination, so what's the latest there?
Well, Tara, at first, excuse me for some of the noise you might be hearing in the background. It's busy down here at City Hall. But as for the root issue in Sinalta, the province says that there are minor cleanup efforts and monitoring is continuous, and that is underway. However, the province did not announce any major plans to do a more thorough cleanup of all the creosote contamination there at the south end of the Bow River. And the mayor here today tells me that there's nothing that she knows of in terms of plans to development that area where the vacant lot is near the Greyhound site. Now, meanwhile, the environmental assessment in Hillhurst did not find high enough levels of creosote to be of concern. In fact, it says that spending time near a busy intersection is actually more harmful in terms of air pollutants than what was identified in Hillhurst. Tara.
Okay, Stephanie, thank you. A new start date for the Stephen Avenue revitalization project to tell you about. The city postponed construction in response to the concerns of area businesses. Starting Monday, crews will focus on the east half of the 100 block of 1st Street Southeast and then expand to the west side in September. The city says it's to minimize disruptions during the summer patio season. Construction was delayed after business owners aired their frustration over a lack of consultation and that initial start date of July 14th, which included phased construction between 11th Ave Southwest and 1st Street Southeast. This first phase, which includes upgrading critical underground infrastructure, will be mostly finished by June in time for next year's Calgary Stampede. Prime Minister Mark Carney announced new tariffs on steel from China and steel from any other country where the steel was originally melted and poured in China. Carney made the announcement in Hamilton today, saying it will promote the use of Canadian-made steel and bolster our country from U.S. tariffs. Almost 2/3 of the steel used in Canada is imported. Steel from Mexico and the United States will be exempt. While steel producers are cheering on the move, saying it will bolster business, companies that manufacture steel-based products say it will drive up costs and it could hurt their businesses.
We import all these products from all over the world where everything's very global. We have already sold these products and we have ongoing sales and purchase orders for the products. If we don't know what our costs are, it's very scary for a guy like me to sell the product. We're not sure if we're going to make any money or not. And as a business owner, it's very difficult. It's very scary.
In February, U.S. President Donald Trump announced a 25% tariff on all steel and aluminum imports, including those from Canada. Last month, he increased the rate to 50%.
You're watching CTV News, Calgary.
Let's go outside and check in with Gina now. It's a lovely evening, but this is kind of as warm as it gets for a while.
Yeah, we're not going to see temperatures in the 20s for the next couple of days, so enjoy it while it's around. A little breezy out here, though, but that's to be expected. Those winds out of the southeast at around 20 to 40 kilometers an hour for the next couple of hours, and that's what we're seeing on the screen here. Sitting at 20 degrees right now, a little hazy as well. Did smell a bit of smoke when I was out there, but you can see on our radar satellite there some change on the way coming out of the northwest, some instability on the horizon. So tonight, while there's no watches or warnings in effect currently, we're anticipating thunderstorms and a lot of rain starting tomorrow morning. We'll have those details coming up.
Thank you, Gina. Two campgrounds have reopened in Yoho National Park that were closed because of bears in the area. Last week, a black bear damaged an unoccupied tent at Takaka Falls Campground. A similar incident happened to a tent at Yoho Lake Backcountry Campground. Both sites were closed as a precaution. Parks Canada suspects the bears have now moved further into the backcountry where there's abundant natural food sources. Beautiful Lake Louise was one of the stars of the show in last night's episode of Amazing Race Canada. Teams descended on the mountain community and they had to make their way to the Brewster stables and learn the essential rancher skill of lassoing. They had to wrangle the targets and score 3 points to move on. Calgary teammates and brothers Isosa and Osas are still in it. Osas works as an arborist and he often has to use ropes to climb trees, but he admits that did not really translate to this challenge. It was harder than he thought it would be. Amazing Race runs Tuesday nights on CTV. Well, sometimes the last thing you feel like doing when you're sick is exercising. But a new study shows the benefits of working out while and after being treated for cancer are immense. And we're learning more about the man arrested for allegedly hijacking a plane in BC yesterday. We're back with those details in 1 minute. And if you have a news tip, you can text us anytime at 10400. An Alberta team is studying how exercise after and even during cancer treatments can provide survival benefits. They'll be releasing results soon, but participants are already spreading the word about the program that they think should be added to the province's cancer care. Alicia Fieldberg explains.
The right trainer can make a big difference for your health, especially if you're dealing with cancer.
Oh, a tremendous difference. I was always active, but I never knew what the right thing was to do for my limitations.
Research is revealing promising data about exercise programs in oncology treatment, including an 18-year-long study on colon cancer patients from all over the world, recently published in the New England Journal of Medicine.
Hard data showing the survival benefits of exercise. And those benefits, they're comparable to what you would see with some of the drug treatments.
Validating, but not surprising for the Alberta team who started this program for people with all kinds of cancer.
It's not just early stage cancers, right? We're seeing metastatic disease. We're seeing really higher risk cancers like neuro-oncology, brain tumors.
Participants range from recent post-cancer to those waiting for or in the middle of treatment. A specially trained team helps tailor exercises for individual needs and abilities.
We've had people contact and they'll say, I have a walker. Can I do your program? And I think at first it was like, I don't know. Let's try it out and see. And then we can see like, hey, we're able to get these people into the class.
The social side of class is just as important.
Just being able to talk to people that are in the same situation as I am just helps me greatly.
The program isn't currently funded by the province, but this group hopes that changes.
Because people need it. It will help them build confidence, build strength, empower them.
All vital for people who have faced a lack of control due to disease.
Just keep going. You got to do these programs. You got to live each day and make the most of each day.
Alicia Fieldberg, CTV News, Calgary.
Alberta's Cancer Exercise Research Team is expected to release the results soon from its 7-year study of more than 2,500 participants. A U of C Health Sciences student has used her own experience as a patient to design a comforting invention. 20-year-old Madison Torrey has spent a lot of time in hospitals, starting at age 5 when she was diagnosed with a heart condition. At 13, she had heart surgery. She says medical-induced PTSD then led her to getting lupus. She experienced a lot of cold IV fluid going through her veins, and she often shivered while wearing just gowns or tank tops slung off the shoulder. So she developed the Hug hoodie with an opening for IVs while keeping patients cozy and warm.
My goal was to make a hoodie that didn't feel like the hospital, something I could wear from treatment to the classroom. Often those with long-term health conditions have to go in between being a patient and being a regular person on the day-to-day. I want something that someone wouldn't second guess or second look at and just saw it as a cool hoodie.
I've always been into design, into fashion, but then to start off so early in a project that can not only help so many people was just something that I was really interested in.
That's great. Tori is working with a Canadian manufacturer now and is seeking corporate sponsors to purchase them for a donation to patients and hospitals. They cost $150, and she already has 150 pre-orders.
This is CTV News, Calgary.
Let's bring Gina back in now as we look ahead to our 5-day forecast. A little bit of rain in there.
It's our next round of wet weather. We got a nice little break today, though. It was a bit breezy out there, though, when I was just outside. We're sitting at 20 degrees right now, aiming for a high of 21 still, but we might not quite make it there this afternoon. We have those southerly winds still at around 20 to 40 kilometers an hour for the next couple of hours, but then we're going to see a transition out of the northeast, so that's going to bring cooler air and that instability. But temperatures around the province right now in the low 20s for the most part, 21 in Lethbridge, 23 over in Medicine Hat, and in central Alberta here we're seeing a little bit cooler in Red Deer and Sundre. Apologies about to the east of us. We're having trouble getting some of those values on our map here, so we'll look into that, but basically safe to say many areas right now in the high teens, low 20s. For tomorrow, we cool off quite a bit, only aiming for a high of 15 in Calgary tomorrow, and it's because of this next wet weather system coming in. You can see already starting to track over the mountains and build that instability, so seeing a lot of lightning, and this is going to circulate to the south and into Calgary later tonight. So we are expecting right around that 11 o'clock hour. This just updated, so this is even more severe than what it was when I last looked at it a few minutes ago. So high uptick in precipitation starting right around 11:30. A brief passing storm cell over Calgary. Looks like the northwest and northeast could be quite impacted by that system, but I believe parts of the inner southwest and southeast could see this cell sweep over them as well. Tapers off a little bit, and then we pick up right again during your morning commute tomorrow, seeing that widespread rainfall lingering throughout the morning hours before it starts to taper off and dissipate right around 4 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. Pretty similar setup in Banff, just rain starting a little earlier because they're closer to the foothills there. And Lethbridge, you'll see some rain as well, but it won't be as severe as what we're anticipating for here in Calgary and the surrounding areas. For tomorrow, we get a bit of a break, or excuse me, Friday, after this wet weather system moves through. We get a bit of a break on Friday, but then entering into Saturday, you can see another round of active weather expected, and that'll be the setup for Sunday as well. So it's a lot of on and off happening over the next couple of days, and that plays out in your Action Furnace 5-day forecast. So aiming for 22 on Friday. We'll see if we can reach that after that wet weather event on Thursday.
Thank you, Gina. New developments tonight after a stolen airplane landed in Vancouver yesterday. CTV News has learned that fighter jets were scrambled from the U.S. as a precaution. The suspect flew around the Vancouver airport yesterday, flying high and low and telling controllers he wanted to shut down the airspace for 5 hours to protest global warming. YVR operations were shut down, and then fighter jets were deployed. The pilot landed about half an hour later, and he was arrested. The Cessna was stolen earlier from the Victoria Flying Club. Sources tell CTV News the suspect organized a private flight with a pilot. The suspect then pulled a knife. Somehow the pilot escaped.
So Vancouver's first line of duty is to protect any other aircraft coming into the field, which they did. They diverted 9 flights as far away as Calgary and Seattle.
Vancouver is a major international airport, and so nobody knew whether the person had nefarious intent and intended to hurt themselves or to crash into somewhere on the Vancouver airport. So quite concerning.
The incident delayed departures and diverted arriving aircraft. Still to come, a new approach to speech therapy. We'll tell you about a Calgary camp that helps kids who stutter. And a new playground opens in Cochrane today where all kids are invited to play. Stay with us. A camp for children who stutter is underway in Calgary this week, and it's taking a different approach. Instead of trying to change how the kids talk, it encourages them to embrace the stutter and speak with confidence. Jordan Canigan has more.
People who stutter were born that way.
They're taking the microphone and changing the conversation around stuttering.
It gives me strength to be confident and talk to our people.
The Dream Speak Live camp is in Calgary for the first time, parading their message through the city.
We were learning about communication and owning
our space when we're talking. Learning about voice, to not speak too loud and too quiet.
The focus of the camp is to teach people who stutter how to communicate effectively and confidently instead of trying to get rid of the disorder. The approach was developed at the Blank Center for Stuttering Education in Texas.
Oh, it's huge, and for them to have tried it once, they know they can do it, and then we just hope that they take that into their lives every day, and with each time that they do it, they get a little bit more confident.
The free camp welcomed more than a dozen children of all ages. Kids taking part say it's already improving how they feel about the way they speak.
We are made like this, like that's how we talk, that's why we talk. We were born to stutter. When they interrupt me, I'll put my hand out like this. And when they try and finish my sentence for me, I would keep continuing until I'm done.
Jordan Cadigan, CTV News, Calgary.
The camp has been held internationally, but it has not been hosted in Canada before. The plan is to hold it annually in Calgary, and it is free of charge. There's a new place to play in the town of Cochrane. Dozens of kids were on hand for the grand opening of the Jumpstart Inclusive Multi-Sport Court today. The play space features basketball courts, which can be used for a number of accessible and standard sports like pickleball and wheelchair tennis. A key focus of the court is accessibility.
It really speaks to Cochrane's heart and our desire to want to build spaces for everyone. And here, kids will be able to play on a court, open, shoot hoops, and with any disability whatsoever.
The sport court is located near the SLS Centre, and it's open 7 days a week. Still to come, a tribute to a Canadian jazz legend. Oscar Peterson's life as a musician and an advocate for civil rights, part of a new exhibit at Calgary's National Music Centre. The National Music Centre opened a new exhibit today honoring Canadian music legend Oscar Peterson. Peterson was monumental as a jazz musician, composer, and advocate for civil rights and music education. Now he will grace the NMC in Timeless 100 Years of Oscar Peterson. The launch coincides with what would have been his 100th birthday and will be the most comprehensive tribute ever presented on Peterson. The head of the National Music Centre visited Peterson's home and says you will see many of his things at this exhibit.
His instruments, his home studio, his personal piano, every award that any artist could ever win, musician from any country in the world, including Canada, he has won, and they were all on display at his house. It was incredible to spend time in that house, and some of those items are here.
The exhibit, Timeless 100 Years of Oscar Peterson, runs at Studio Bell until July 2026. That'll be a good one. All right, well, getting a great photo of your pet can sometimes be a little difficult, but this is a tried and true method to get that perfect picture. Well, this is smart. Just put a little peanut butter on the nose. This is Dude the dog. He's traveled to, you know, all of America's hot spots. Everywhere he goes, he's focused on licking the peanut butter, so his owners always get a good picture.
I was going to say, you know, it almost takes away from all the amazing places he's in because I'm so fixated on what Dude's getting up to there.
It's a little distracting, for sure. Well, I can personally attest to this one. Having two dogs usually means one of them is calm and one of them is crazy. Like me, this owner has one of each. When going in for a drink in the shower, the Golden Retriever, very delicate. The German Shepherd, full attack mode.
I'm curious what he would be like with peanut butter on his nose.
Enthusiastic,
yeah, to say the least.
Yeah. Well, it was hot out there today. If you're lucky enough to be near a beach, you can always stay cool like these two and go surfing. That's impressive. This is Rosina the surfing swine. She loves the sand, she loves the surf, catches a few gnarly waves, and then greets her fans who are waiting for her.
I mean, they say when pigs fly, but when pigs surf
is, yeah, that's impressive.
They're cute, too. They're looking like a good time out there.
Yeah, very good. A lot of horsepower is up for sale this weekend. Rows and rows of vintage tractors are going on the auction block. We have those details coming up next.
Welcome back. Happy Wednesday. Seeing more of that sunshine today throughout the afternoon, but clouds starting to build out there, so mostly cloudy conditions right now. A little bit of that smoke smell as well with those southeasterly winds. So the air quality still in the low range right now, and it'll improve as we start to see more wet weather move in later this evening. Temperatures right now at 20 degrees. We are aiming for a high of 21, hopefully throughout the rest of this hour here, but might not make it quite to that forecast high today, as that instability will start to cool things off later tonight. Taking a look at that instability right now, starting to track closer and closer to Calgary here. So it looks like two different systems, but they're connected right now. It's a low pressure system that started over BC, starting to track into Alberta, and it'll dive down into Calgary as we get into later tonight and into tomorrow. So far, though, no watches or warnings associated with what's coming our way, but we are expecting a good chance of a thunderstorm to sweep over Calgary tonight before the more sustained rain moves in tomorrow morning. So let's track that for you. It is at around 11:30, 12 a.m. where we start to see that thunderstorm cell over Calgary. So that could bring some rain, some hail, some strong winds, and then more of that wet weather, that sustained rain enters the region as we get into Thursday morning and starts to dissipate late Thursday afternoon. Nice and clear for the most part on Friday, but you can already see more wet weather to the west moving our way for the weekend. Up to 10 millimeters expected, could get 10 to 20 with that first round of wet weather throughout Thursday there, so we'll keep an eye on that. Here's a look at your 24-hour forecast brought to you by Action Furnace. Fixed right or it's free. Again, those thunderstorms could start as early as 11:30 tonight.
Thank you, Gina. A Calgary man faces voyeurism and child porn charges after women and girls complained they were secretly filmed at South Centre Mall. 51-year-old Jeffrey Williamson previously served 2 years in prison for posting hundreds of non-consensual images online. The mother of a man shot and killed by police during a pursuit 2 years ago is thankful an officer is now charged with murder, but remains skeptical about the judicial process moving forward. And a controversial residential project is one step closer to reality. City Council unanimously approved rezoning the former CBC building site, despite residents' concerns over creosote soil contamination. The province's Alberta Next panel is meeting in Edmonton tonight. This is the second of these panels. The province says it's a way for Albertans to share their ideas and concerns with Premier Daniel Smith and others. The first panel was in Red Deer last night.
I don't understand why we're still talking about this when the vast majority of Albertans said they did not want an Alberta pension plan.
It is time to put the separation question on a ballot so that Alberta people can decide.
Those are remarks from last night's panel in Red Deer. Alberta separation is not part of the province's approved list of topics. Those that are include an Alberta pension plan, a provincial police force, and the province's sovereignty, among others. Collections come in all shapes and sizes. Some are small, some are big. This one is massive. An acreage owner just north of the Springbank Airport now owns 91 vintage tractors. Some of them have been restored, others are very well used. They are all going up for auction. Here's Kevin Fleming.
There's a story behind almost every tractor that Don Ellingson and his wife Beth have purchased over the last 35 years. Don says this is the first time his collection has all been in one place. Now he has a hobby farm like no other.
80 to 85% run, and the other ones, some of them don't run, but some of them will be lawn art. Because if they have steel wheels, they look good on the corner of the fence and the tires don't go flat.
Ellingson was drawn to the Massey Harris brand before it changed to Massey Ferguson in the 1950s. He ended up with 107 tractors at one point, and now that's down to 91, and all up for auction.
It's time, and my health is starting to fail me, being an old mechanic. and it's time to sell the acreage and move somewhere where somebody else cuts the grass and shovels the snow.
Beth was an art teacher for 32 years and sketched and painted some of the tractors in the collection. She supported Don in his constant search for new machines, but it wasn't always easy talking to her friends about his unusual passion.
And of course, they envisioned toy tractors. No. And for some people, they just shake their head and kind of like, what the heck?
The couple celebrated their 45th wedding anniversary in early July.
But it was our 15th wedding anniversary, being married in July, you know, holidays and such. We went to an auction that was in Manitoba, and I got a tractor as a gift for our anniversary.
Don says most of his tractors are worth $1,500, but some of the restored machines will fetch closer to $10,000 US. He says the hardest one to part with will be the tractor that started the collection, the one he purchased from his brother. Kevin Fleming, CTV News, west of Calgary.
So the tractors are available for viewing now, and the online auction is expected to be all over Saturday evening. We've posted more information about the auction on our website. Canada plans to help prop up the steel industry by restricting tariff-free imports. BNN Bloomberg's Andrew Bell has the latest.
Hello there. Canada intends to cut the amount of foreign steel that importers can bring in tariff-free. It's part of an attempt to support the domestic steel industry, which has been hit by levies imposed by U.S. President Donald Trump. The Prime Minister, Mr. Carney, said Ottawa will tighten the zero tariff quota for steel products from countries without a free trade deal to 50% of last year's volumes. Above that, a 50% levy will apply. Meanwhile, as trade talks with Washington continue, Bank of Nova Scotia economist Derek Holt said Ottawa should consider excluding U.S. companies from major infrastructure and defense projects as part of its response to Trump's trade war. On the markets, the Canadian dollar changed hands at 73.07 U.S. cents, up around 1/5 a cent. West Texas Intermediate crude was at $65.19, down 18 cents. Our fix on Western Canadian Select has it at $54.14, down 88 cents. And the TSX Composite ended at 27,152.97, up just under 99 points. That's the latest in business. I'm Andrew Bell of BNN Bloomberg.
Several snake species are designated as sensitive or at risk of decline in Alberta. And that's part of why AJM Environmental Inc. is sharing this video in celebration of World Snake Day. As part of a southeastern Alberta research project, the firm microchipped and released these rattlesnakes back into their natural habitat. AJM is encouraging open dialogue and education on the significance of snakes. Just ahead, a Calgary golf camp with a difference. The instructors teach valuable life lessons, too. These students will hopefully take away from the course. That's next. Welcome back. The Calgary Flames are sharing their new season schedule in a very unique way. We're having some fun with it. Yeah, that is forward Ryan Lomberg doing his best Rambo impression. The Flames will open their season in Edmonton on October 8th. They'll play their provincial rivals 4 times this season. That's 1 more than last year. The home opener is October 11th. They'll play St. Louis at the Dome. And defending Cup champion Florida will visit Calgary March 20th. There'll be a break between February 6th and 24th for the Winter Olympics. Tickets go on sale August 29th. A summer program is looking to make golf more accessible and more inclusive. Some kids hitting the putting green and the range at McCall Lake Golf Course are part of a First Tee Alberta program. The free program isn't just for improving their game, it's also teaching them life skills. Organizers say the sport can teach a lot of lessons that can be applied off the course, too.
Today's lesson is confidence. Yesterday was perseverance. And how do you persevere through a bad shot? But also, how do you persevere in life when things don't go your way and, you have obstacles that you face in your school or at home? How do you take that perseverance away from the golf course and apply it to your everyday life?
The RBC Community Junior Golf Initiative covered the cost for the 3-day program. More clinics will be held at 2 other Calgary courses and 1 in Edmonton over the course of the summer. Tonight on Golf Tips, if you're having a bit of trouble getting that club face square, Scott has some tips on how to get it there. Here's Glenn Campbell.
Mackenzie Meadows Golf Tips with PGA Pro Scott Orban.
Scott, I was really proud of my daughter the other day. Came out to Mackenzie Meadows. She shot under 50 on the front 9. First time she's ever done that. Now, got to the back 9 and she started spraying balls to the right. Kind of lost it. It looked like she was kind of swaying maybe kind of thing, getting on her back heel.
Well, you know, funny thing is you can sway, and if you have a square club face, you're still going to hit the ball pretty good. Right? And a lot of people are always talking about their body parts moving, and they don't, you know, they're picking up things here and there. But I'm going to tell you, 9 times out of 10, we're looking at your club face angle and we're looking at your path. We're always looking at that club face angle. So I want to really define this for everybody. So I put the club on this shaft. I put the shaft down to depict a target line. I put it on there. I want to make sure this leading edge is perpendicular to the target line. And I've done something else, is I've put a little spot on their face, because that's where I want the ball to hit. When I set that up, you'll see golfers, I love this, the greatest tip in the world, take it to the top and set it down behind the ball. When you do that, okay, when you do that, I want you to make sure that when this club returns, the shaft is leaning, or our hands are in front of that club head, and then you'll see when you do that, that now you have a chance at impacting it in there. So, but golfers really have to understand they need and I'm using a wedge on purpose, by the way, because this is the one that people really have a hard time with. It's that leading edge with all your irons perpendicular to the target line. When you set down those woods and those hybrids, they sit a little more square, so they're a little easier to get used to. But so I'll practice this to this day. I'll set that on there, make sure I have a square club face. Always set up, butt end just pointed a little left of your fly. And when I take it back and I bring it back down, you can see I've exposed that, and now I can hit a shot out there, out towards my target. Roll back down, roll back down, roll back down. Get there. Not bad.
Amy watches these golf tips. Amy, that one's for you.
Free tip for Amy tonight. Next week on Golf Tips, Scott gives Glenn a new putter to try out. Well, if you don't mind golfing in the rain, there will be some opportunities over the next couple of days.
Yeah, you'll have the course maybe all to yourself tomorrow. Yeah, definitely a wet weather event on the way again. We've had a few of these this week so far. So before we focus on that, let's soak in this beautiful sunrise that Rob captured for us out in High River this week for your weather window. Brought to you by Lux Windows and Doors, crafting quality windows and doors for your style, budget, and Alberta's climate. So again, as it stands right now, no watches or warnings in effect for what's on the way, but we are expecting our first dose of unstable weather later this evening. Could be as early as 11:30. So you're fine right now, but maybe bring the delicate plants inside and any of those nice cushions that you might have out on the patio. Bring them in later this evening, because it's going to be wet tomorrow too. We could see anywhere between 10 to 20 millimeters of rain, especially in the morning hours, and it'll really cool things off out there. So only aiming for a high of 15 tomorrow. That keeps us well below seasonal. Usual high is usually 23 for this time of year. So we get close to that, Tara, on Friday, and then it's just more of the same unstable weather for the rest of the weekend.
Good stuff. Thanks, Gina. Thank you for your company tonight. Have a great evening.